Cook, Marquette, Ponder, and Wolves are very proud of the results they obtain for their clients, but you should know that past results afford no guarantee of future results, that every case is different and must be judged on its own merits, and that the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. And now, back to Tell Me I Have a Case with Dan Grimm and Matt Glenn.
And we're back for segment 2 of Tell Me I Have a Case, the show where we invite you to take a second look at the world of personal injury. Alongside Dan Grimm, I'm Matt Glenn. We're from Cook, Marquette, Ponder, and Wolves. You can find us at www.cbpw-law.com or 573-335-6651. Now, Dan, we talked to Dr. Chad Armstrong in the first segment about treatment you might get at the ER. And his message was, he's going to give you a diagnosis. He's going to stabilize you. Diagnosis, you're going to live. And so you leave the ER. What is next? You've done these for a long time. What are some of the mistakes you see people make after the day of the accident?
Absolutely, yeah. And I want to thank Dr. Chad Armstrong for coming in and talking to us today about what he sees in the ER. And often it's what we see as well, too, when patients come out of the ER. Most of our cases don't really involve broken bones. We see a lot of soft tissue injuries, meaning ligament tears, disc injuries, and we see clients come in and the X-ray is normal or the CT is normal. The biggest thing that we always like to see with our clients that come in is that once they leave the ER, that they do follow up with their primary care doctor, that they do follow up with a physical therapist or an orthopedic spine doctor, or an orthopedic doctor, because leaving the ER just means that you're stabilized.
Right.
You're not dying, but it doesn't mean by any means that you don't have injuries or even serious injuries that can become chronic for the rest of your life.
Well, and you've got that 2-day pain medication prescription. You're gonna take that, but the doctor's orders say go follow up with your primary care physician, and so that's something you really ought to do what the doctors tell you to. They are the experts, and they're the ones whose advice you should follow. When they follow up with their doctor, how important is it to list everything that's wrong with them?
That's something that I see, and something that we've talked about before, that because of the type of injury, the acute injury, one part of the body may be raging or on fire, and they may say, oh, my shoulder is killing me, it hurts, and they don't mention the neck pain or low back pain. It's absolutely vitally important that when you're talking to a doctor, that you list everything that is not feeling right, everything that is hurting or that feels off.
Yeah, and that's important, even if, as Dan said, the symptom of your knee, say, isn't as bad as your low back, you still want to mention it. When I was defending cases for an insurance company, I had a plaintiff who had low back pain, and she also alleged that she had a rotator cuff tear in her right shoulder. She went to the doctor 16 times during the first year after the accident, and each time she was there, she complained of low back pain. But only twice did she complain of shoulder pain, once about a month after the accident and once about 12 months after the accident. And she tried to say at trial that she had consistent shoulder pain, but I was able to put medical records in front of the jury that said that she only complained 2 times out of 16. And so what I said in closing argument was, she's 2 and 14, 2 complaints and 14 non-complaints. If that's consistently complaining about shoulder pain, then the Rams were a consistently winning football team in 2014. And it's snarky, and that, maybe that was mean of me to do, but if something is in a medical record, people will look at that, jurors will look at that and say, that's absolutely true. And if you're not mentioning that knee pain or that shoulder pain, because at that moment it's relatively minor, well, it might be minor now, but it might be growing into something major. And if it does grow into something major, it's hard to say, well, I was having that pain complaint those 5 times at the doctor, I just didn't mention it. Well, then the defense is going to start to argue, well, something else caused this, not the accident, which is the actual cause. And that's why it's really important. Be honest with your doctor, and that means fully informing your doctor of all your symptoms. Another thing we see a lot of is that people get prescribed pain medication, either from their primary care physician or at the ER. Dan, what are some of the offshoots of pain medicine that you see in your practice?
Yeah, that's like Dr. Chad Armstrong talked about, is that one of the things they can do, they can prescribe pain medication, but it's for 1 or 2 days. it's short-lived. But what pain medication does, obviously, is going to dull the pain, dull the senses. So, I mean, you may feel that you're doing better because of the pain medication, but in actuality, the pain is still present, still there. It's just been masked by whatever the medication is that was prescribed by the ER doctor.
Yeah, a lot of these narcotic pain medications, or even the really strong, what they call NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, those will do a great job convincing you you're not actually hurt. But you're not going to know until you're really off of those and you give it time. And again, the doctors know this, and that's why they're telling you follow up if you're not getting better, and they want to see you follow up. I want to talk a little bit, though, Dan, about radiology. You get a lot of people who come out of the ER thinking that, well, they had a CT scan, I must be okay.
Right. That's what I really like what Dr. Armstrong mentioned here today is the X-ray and CT is not the gold standard for soft tissue injuries. I mean, ligament tears, disc injuries. What they're looking for with X-rays is broken bones. It's like we talked about, a lot of these motor vehicle crashes that we see don't involve broken bones. I can't tell you how many clients that we've had come in here and say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm still in a lot of pain. But the X-ray was normal, or the CT was normal. And obviously then we have to educate them as far as what the purpose of the CT was, or the X-ray. And it's not the gold standard for picking up if you have a soft tissue injury, meaning a disc injury or a ligament tear. The MRI is the gold standard. But that's why we talked about is that it's so important to follow up with your doctors after the ER, because those doctors are going to be the ones that 9 out of 10 times are going to order the MRI to figure out what's going on, what's causing this pain, what's the pain generator.
Right. Because those are, an MRI is going to find a herniated disc. That's not a life-threatening injury. It's a life-altering injury, but it's not a life-threatening injury. And that's the ER doctor is going to focus on the life-threatening injuries. One of the other mistakes we see a lot of is that people will stop going to the doctor. Just they'll reach a plateau, or they'll feel like, this maybe isn't helping. And even though they're recommended to, they stop going. How have you seen that impact people's claims?
Oh, absolutely. What we see is, and I think all of us are partial to that, to where you hope that it's going to get better. You hope in time it's going to get better. But what happens with these motor vehicle crashes is that you're getting hit by a 3,000-pound, 4,000-pound, 20,000-pound vehicle, that your body's just not meant to withstand those type of impacts at certain speeds. They cause injuries. And like you talked about, the injuries that we see with disc injuries or ligament injuries, they're not life-threatening often, but they are life-altering. And they often present as simple sprains, strains, or muscle pain. But the problem is that over time, it gets worse and worse and worse. What we always like to see is, as far as patients going to their primary care doctors or following up with their doctors, is to figure out what's going on. And the main way of doing that is meet with the doctor, telling the doctor what is hurting, where it's hurting, how long it's been hurting, so that way they can have an MRI done. And then that way they can figure out what's wrong. Is it a disc injury? Is it a disc tear? Then they can start prescribing the proper treatment to get you back on the right track. Often without that right treatment, you're going to languish, and the pains become chronic and worse over time.
Right, and a lot of people do at that point then kind of give up and say, well, I'm not going to continue to go. Another thing that I hear from my patients all the time is, well, I'm starting to get better. I'm starting to feel better. I think I'm okay. And 9 times out of 10, they're correct. They are. But the one thing I always advise my clients before we settle is you need to do what I call a systems check. You need to go out there and figure out everything that is wrong with you. And that means you need to figure out what was the most physically stressful thing I did before this accident on a regular basis. If that's hauling up a case of water up a flight of stairs for somebody, then that's what you need to do. If that's bowling, if that's hunting, if that's fishing, whatever physically demanding activity you did before this accident, you need to make sure you can do it just as well as you did before the accident, before you're ready to settle your case. You get one shot at this. I mean, that's it, one shot. And if you don't find everything that's wrong with you before you settle, then you're not gonna get given back to you everything that was taken. And that's vitally important, to do that systems check. Go out there and see, can I go duck hunting? Can I go deer hunting? Can I do the things that I used to love to do? Because if not, you need further treatment. All of us, no matter how old we are too young to not live our best life.
And that it's really kind of makes me think, and I love what you just said there, because so often the at-fault party's insurance agent will call immediately after the crash or the next day and say, how are you doing? And think about it, a lot of us, we will say, well, I'm okay, or I'm fine, or I think I'm all right. Or even at the crash site, when the police officer says, are you okay? Do you need medical care? It's so often that people say, I think I'm okay. But the reality, like you said, unless you do a systems check, unless you know for certain, it's fine to say, I'm not sure, I'm not certain, because you haven't put your body on the same type of strain or pressure, or you haven't, like you said, hiked or bowled or gone back to work to see if actually you are okay. Because so often we see people that early on in the police report or early on in a recorded statement by the insurance company, they may say, I think I'm okay, or I'm all right, or I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, you realize, that's the farthest from the truth.
Yeah.
Because you haven't done that systems check.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of our clients will tell us, yeah, I'm sore from the accident, but I'm okay. Well, you're sore from the accident, so what have you been doing for the last 5 days? Oh, I've been sitting on my couch watching television. Oh, really? Physically, you can handle sitting on your couch and watching television? That's very different than getting up and going to work. And it's very different than being a UPS driver and delivering packages all day, or even driving for DoorDash, which a lot of people do now, which involves delivering groceries to people. You have to, before you say you're okay, you have to know you're okay. And that means you have to know you can do the things that you could do before this accident started. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. That sort of statement, I'm okay, that'll come back to haunt you later in your case. And in reality, if you're able to get the right diagnosis early on in your treatment, you're going to get on a path to getting better. And that's what you want. I don't care how much money compensation we could get for somebody. It's never enough to not be in pain. And so the key is get out there, get yourself well, get yourself better.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, because when you're hoping that you're going to get better, you're guessing. And until you get that diagnosis, until you get that MRI, until you get that proper treatment by that specialist. Again, that's why we wanted to have Dr. Armstrong on, because the ER doctor is what they do. Their goal is different than when you treat with a spine specialist or orthopedic doctor or even a neurosurgeon. You want to get that diagnosis, get that treatment so you can get better, get healthy. Because like you said, the most important thing that you have is your health.
Right.
That's that. But you're not going to be able to get on that path until you figure out what is causing that pain, what that pain generator is.
Yeah, and we're going to have an orthopedic surgeon on with us in one of our future shows. But one of the symptoms that they always talk about is if you're experiencing any sort of numbness or tingling in either your arms or your legs, that is not something you ignore. That might feel minor. It might feel like your elbow has gone to sleep, or you hit your funny bone, or something like that. And you might feel like, well, that's just kind of an annoyance. It doesn't really bother me. It's my pain in my low back or my knee pain is what's really bothering me. Any numbness or tingling can be a sign that something in that spine has gone wrong. A disc is herniated, a disc is torn, and those can be fixed through injections, but many times they require a surgery. And in your experience, Dan, how much does that surgery cost if they need it?
Those surgeries range anywhere from $180,000 up to $250,000, $275,000 if you need 1, 2, or 3 levels of surgery done.
Yeah, and a lot of times that surgery can be a fusion. And in somebody who's in their 40s, if you fuse one level of the spine, the doctors will tell you that the levels above that will start to get increased pressure and start to wear out even faster. So, we'll talk again more about it with Dr. Ray when we have him on in a few shows. But just don't ignore that symptom. If you have numbness in your hands or feet, or tingling or pain shooting down your legs, that is not something to ignore.
No. And like the medical treatment does not stop at the ER. It's really a path to wellness after you get out of the ER with doctors and specialists that can make you healthy, make you whole.
Yeah, I thought that was a valuable guest we had. Hopefully you guys have learned something. The theme of this show is, if nothing else, when something's taken from you, you deserve to get it back. And so you deserve to get everything back that was taken in any kind of accident or any kind of fall. You've been listening to Tell Me I Have a Case, the show where we invite you to take a second look at the world of personal injury. Alongside Dan Grimm, I'm Matt Glenn. Apologies to Mike Ponder. We ran out of time. We'll try to work him in on a future case. You can find us at cbpw-law.com, 573-335-6651. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Tell Me I Have a Case with Dan Grimm and Matt Glenn. If you have questions and need answers, contact Cook, Barquette, Ponder, and Wolves today. Just go to cbpw-law.com. See you next week for Tell Me I Have a Case. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertisements.